Happy Wednesday, everyone. I read with interest your discussion board posts, and I'd like to give you a little bit of video feedback on what I read. So in no particular order, I just jotted things down as I was reading and thinking about what you said. I really appreciated the idea that you have a deep respect for the silent period. This is such a key part of an English learner's introduction to the English language. And as many of you noted, and as the materials noted, this period can vary greatly in length. And it's when we push it that it can harm our students. All people need to move at their own pace through this silent period, as you noted. And it varies greatly. It varies greatly according to the language that was spoken. It varies greatly according to personality, culture, and gender. And so these all are components in how long a silent period will last. And I know it is so hard for teachers because we always want to fix things, don't we? And so we want to get them moving through that silent period as quickly as possible. But this is where we have to take a step back and where we have to take a breath and say, it is what it is. I will let this happen naturally and don't push it. I have two children who varied greatly in the silent period. One, a little girl from Thailand who came to me speaking not a word of English, and her silent period probably lasted about 5 minutes. And that was due to her personality. I'm still in touch with her today. She's in her late 20s, a fashion designer in New York City. And she tells me, yeah, she remembers that time. And she said, you were just such a nice person because you had a good smile. And so she said she made that immediate connection with me and didn't feel like it was scary to try something. But that was her personality. I had another student I'm still in touch with. Her silent period lasted many, many months. But during that time, she was like a little sponge, absorbing everything. And when the silent period was over, almost everything that she had experienced came out of her mouth. And so those are two vastly different experiences with the silent period. But I hope that when you might feel like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere, think about those two stories and realize that you are doing the best thing possible just to let things happen naturally and let your students take the lead. I'm so glad many of you enjoyed the article about running records. I hope you will use it as a citation and background for your assessment paper. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if Barrister uses F&P, but certainly you do likely do running records. And looking at errors to understand if they change the meaning, I think is a very important component of running records when we're working with English learners. And so I encourage you to think about looking at running record in two ways. Maybe doing a total accuracy score and then looking at those meaning changes and getting data based on meaning changes too, because if the meaning doesn't change and the comprehension is still there, maybe that's just good enough. And so that's something to consider as well. Another thing I wanted to point out to you is many of us think about wait time as teachers. And wait time is certainly important. It's important for all students, not just our English learners. But process and processing time is important as well. And that's kind of part of wait time. But as part of that whole processing time, we need to consider the speed at which we speak, our tempo of speech. There have been times during this video that I have likely talked too fast for English learners at the beginning stages, and I would need to slow down my tempo. And so that's something for us to consider as we consider that whole idea of processing time. So I have put up the very next two classes, class 3 and 4 as of today. So please take a look at that, and I will be adding to the assessment folder in the next couple of days, especially based on what you've said. I would like to offer you some word study ideas. You noted foundations, ideas like that at your school. I'm a big proponent of word study, and I have, let me just show you. This book about words their way for English learners. Now, I know one of the students in the class knows this book well, but I'm going to put up an assessment that's a little bit different than the assessment in this book because I think it helps our English learners a little bit more. It's based on work that was done as part of the Words Their Way program, and the work was done by Kathy Gansky. So look for that in the next couple of days under the assessment folder, but you don't have to worry about that quite yet, as I know you're busy with thinking about your wordless picture book project. And some of you have emailed me questions about that. We've changed the due date to April 30th based on your suggestion. Good idea. And so if any of you have any other questions, please let me know. Thanks.